Have you ever wanted to shock the world? Have you ever wanted to use a build that can keep up with the Void Hunter with volatile rounds? Okay, maybe that one is a bit of a stretch. Have you ever just wanted to, like, you know, not shoot your gun and let, I don't know, a sentient Arc Soul do all the work for you? Or not even worrying about ability uptime whatsoever? This Arc build that you clicked on, yeah, you little Timmy in the back, is like shockingly good. I'm gonna try structuring this build video a little bit different from how I usually do. I want to keep people's attention, and I really need to get my watch time up. I'm trying to gain subscribers and get monetized out here, man. It's rough. But let's finally get into the build. So, what are the two things you need for this Arc Warlock build? First is the Arc Exotic Gauntlets Getaway Artist, and it comes with the exotic perk Dynamic Duo. What this does, it lets you convert your Arc Grenade into an Arc Soul, and you become amplified, and it makes your Arc Soul into an amplified Arc Soul, which makes it do more damage and shoot faster. And Arc Souls are already pretty good as is, and this just makes it like 10 times better. You literally have a turret on your shoulder, and with this build you can have it up like at all times, literally 24/7 having an arc turret on your shoulder. So the next thing we need is the Arc Exotic Fusion Rifle Delicate Tomb, and its exotic trait Trader's Vessel. It states final blows with this weapon have a chance to generate ionic traces. Powerful foes and opposing guardians always generate an ionic trace. Powerful foes meaning like an orange bar or yellow bar. If I sound weird in any part of the video, me and my allergies are fighting right now, and they're beating my ass. So this Arc special weapon generates ionic traces, and what ionic traces do is they generate 12.5% to your melee and your grenade energy, and 15% to your class ability. So that's why Delicate Tomb is a big part of this, because it's literally an ionic trace factory. Oh, and I forgot to mention another part of Delicate Tomb's kit. It also comes with Tempest Cascade. Collecting an ionic trace overcharges this weapon's next shot, jolting targets on hit. So basically, this weapon has Volt Shot as well. You're going to be shooting and jolting everything with a cannon of a fusion rifle, and while you're doing that, you're going to have a Predator shoulder turret that's also shooting everything. And while you're doing all that, hundreds of ionic traces are going to be tracking their way back to you to give you more energy on all of your abilities. You're going to be like Palpatine on crack, just not the looks, because you know he looks pretty crazy. So let's take a real quick in-depth look at Getaway Artist. It's just two things that I forgot to cover. Number one, any Arc Soul that you have, it can be from Getaway Artist or your Rift. It generates grenade energy on hit, and it's not a little bit, it's a pretty big chunk. So basically, if you have this up and it's shooting things, you're going to get your grenade back almost instantly. Number two, you can proc Amplified whenever you want. With these gloves, as soon as you consume your grenade, you gain Amplified. And if you're running Delicate Tomb like you should be, you're going to have 100% uptime on all of your abilities. That's the main benefit of using these gauntlets, is you can become amplified whenever you want. So it's basically an infinite loop. You consume your grenade and get an Arc Soul, and when your Arc Soul does damage, which it will, you gain back grenade energy. And while you're doing all that, you're creating ionic traces, which is giving you back even more energy. And you're going to have another grenade by the time your Arc Soul and Amplified runs out. This is literally 100% uptime. And if you're watching this during Season of the Deep, there are 4 seasonal mods that make this even way better. So let's take a look at them. First, we have Electric Armor. Stay amplified for longer when your Arc subclass is equipped. Usually you're amplified for 15 seconds. With this mod, you're amplified for 20. So I know 5 seconds doesn't seem like a lot, but trust me, every second counts. Next, we have Thunderous Retort. Grants bonus Arc super damage if cast while critically wounded or amplified. Lasts until the end of super activation. This one's a little bit weird. I've heard people say it's a 4% to 6% buff, and on some supers like the Hunter Gathering Storm super, it only lasts on the first activation, like on the first hit. It doesn't apply to the damage over time. I wish they clarified a little bit more, because a lot of people are saying different things. Next up, we have the artifact perk Amped Up. Gain damage resistance while amplified. This is a must-have because it's a 25% damage reduction like all the time because of this build. Supposedly the names for Amped Up and Electric Armor are switched, so if that gets fixed in the future, that's why I'm saying it this way, because right now that's what it's displayed as. Finally, we have Shock and Awe. Arc final blows while you're amplified summons a burst of lightning that damages and jolts targets. Kinda like how Thunderlord has that like thunderbolt from above. Now there is one more mod called Lightning Strikes Twice. I've been running this whole build without it, and it's been working perfectly. This mod states, after throwing an arc grenade, gain increased grenade recharge for a short time. Arc final blows extend the duration of this benefit. With you already getting your grenade back insanely fast, I feel like this was a waste of an artifact perk because it really doesn't make a difference. But now, let's get into the inner workings of the subclass and see what makes this thing tick. Okay, I said I was gonna have gameplay 24/7, but I feel like this is a more visual representation, and like you can see it more better if you could just look at the subclass screen. So these 3 abilities, the Rift, the Glide, and the Melee, it's really optional, it's up to you. I've been using Chain Lightning, but Ball Lightning is really good too, because it's ranged. I can't aim, so I mean, I'll shoot it and then it goes like
30 feet in the other direction. Your supers are optional. If you're amplified and you have that damage boost and you pop Chaos Reach, you can take out some pretty tanky enemies. Or if there's a bunch of tanky enemies and you're amplified, you can use Storm Trance and chain lightning them all. I'm certain Storm Trance got a buff, like all AoE supers did, but I really don't remember the exact numbers. Now, your grenades. The Pulse Grenade is by far what you want to go for. Your aspects, of course, is Arc Soul and Electrostatic Mine. Arc Soul, you already know what that does, it just gives you an Arc Soul. And then Electrostatic Mine, defeating targets with arc abilities or defeating jolted or blinded targets creates Ionic Trace. And with this build and the fragments, you're always going to be defeating jolted and blinded targets, so that means you're always going to be getting Ionic Traces. And if you're getting Ionic Traces, that means you're always going to be getting your abilities. This one is super important, Spark of Beacons. While you're amplified, your arc special weapon final blows create a blinding explosion. So you see arc special weapons, that means weapons with special ammo. This is why we're using the exotic fusion rifle Delicate Tomb, because when you defeat someone with Delicate Tomb, it creates a blinding explosion on top of the lightning strike from the seasonal mod. And when you defeat a blinded target, you get an Ionic Trace, and you're always going to be defeating blinded targets because you're always going to be using Delicate Tomb. The next one is Spark of Discharge. Arc weapon final blows have a chance to create an Ionic Trace. That one's pretty straightforward. Spark of Shock. Your arc grenades jolts targets. This works wonders with the Pulse Nade. You're going to have like a billion grenades, so you can eat one, get an overcharged Arc Soul, and your next one you could just throw, and then chain shock everybody with Jolt. And then everybody you defeat from that will give you Ionic Traces to give you another grenade. And then here we're wrapping it up nicely with Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target creates an Ionic Trace, which, you know, literally everything in this build fits together so nicely. It just feels so good to play. Alright, and these are my mods. With this build, mods don't even matter. You can still run this build and it will perform super well. But I mean, why would you want to do that? That's stupid. So for my helmet, we have 2 arc siphons with the special ammo finder. Well, one of them is a dual siphon. For the hands, we have focusing strike, impact induction, and firepower. I want as much Delicate Tomb ammo as possible, so I have 2 harmonic reserves, and then 1 emergency reinforcement. The more damage our fusion rifle can put out, the better. I have 2 arc weapon surges with 1 innovation mod. And for the class item, I'm running Bomber, Proximity Ward, and a Time Dilation. So yeah, I'm super proud of this build. I've had this in my back pocket for a while, but I've been sick and allergies have been kicking my ass ever since like 2 weeks ago. And if you see New York right now, it's looking like fucking Cyberpunk or Blade Runner over there. But yeah, I'm finally getting over this, and I can get back to making videos. I'm gonna continue to post dope builds and continue what I've been doing. I'm getting better at editing videos and posting. Well, maybe not the posting part, but hopefully this video is more entertaining for you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.